Hey everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Conrad, and how are you, buddy? Today is Thursday, the 30th of June, and I've forgotten I didn't forget it, it's actually up here recording my phone, so my bad. I should have known, but it's fine. I have a computer here. I'm trying a couple different things that I've never tried before. One is I'm recording this audio just on a computer, just through the microphones. Now, my hairdo, I can't control that. That just come out of a cold shower like that. So, I don't know. I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it right now. So that's new also. Yeah, I got it, and I have a different microphone for the video. So we're going to try multiple different things at once, and then try to make sure that it comes out with a good product. This show will be out as soon as I'm done recording it, but I may then record another show, or I'm trying to get into the rhythm where, and I just don't have all the right equipment and the right setup yet. I got to re-insulate this shed. When I say re-insulate it, actually insulate it. And then, you know, I'll put my collage back up of my kids' art and my art and Ronnie Millsap and Elvis. I'll put all that stuff back up, but I got to get this thing to where it is just envelope. No air can come in, no air can get out. And then when I turn the air conditioner on, get it nice and cool, get it down to about 30, and then I'll run in here and do a couple shows. And then each one of those shows moving forward is... the plan is I want them to be released at the same time every day. And so I guess the idea moving forward is 10 a.m. or it doesn't really matter. Whatever time we pick is the day or is the time. You know what I mean? So it's going to be 10 a.m. Let's just use that for example. And I'm hoping to get it. I wanted it this week, but I'll get to that and why it's been such a weird week. If you haven't, I still kind of have an eye issue going on, but I'll get to that in a moment. But the idea is every day, Monday through Friday, this is the show you're going to get at 10 a.m. It will be available on YouTube. It will be available on iTunes, Spotify, and our Patreon page, patreon.com/Conradio. It will always be free. It will be free, and then that way that's our base show. The OK Taco show will happen whenever Shannon and I get out together to do tacos. And really we're going to focus more on private events for that, for a number of reasons. But the most specific reason, the most obvious reason is our hatred towards government officials. You know, they don't know what they're doing. They're limited in their thinking and their creativity, and you know, at some point it gets tiring try to convince people that there shouldn't be roadblocks in the way of somebody that's wanting to go to work. You know, if people want to work in this country, if people want to work in this state, if people want to work in some tiny town that has 400 people, god damn, let them work, you know. Don't get in the way and say, oh, you can't park or you can't. And we've been through all that. And so we're done doing it. We're done for the time being. We're going to try something else because this whole idea, this whole redoing an Airstream, getting out, this whole thing was supposed to be for the show. It was supposed to be for a way for us to get to do the show. And the problem that we didn't see coming is, you know, you get out there where you're driving hundreds of miles and you're setting up and you're working, whatever it is, ultimately the show will suffer. Either it doesn't come out or it's not as good or some audio's bad or whatever, and all of these things. And then when you're out there telling people, they're there for tacos. They're not there for the show. And so you get to a point where, yeah, it's great that everything's going good for the taco truck. And even that, is it going good? I mean, it's like, it's great if we break even, or if we make even just a little bit extra money. That's great, except for nobody downloaded the show. No, we didn't even do one. You know, and you get 2 or 3 days in a row, and it gets in me. It's like, this is not, you know, if I'm going to be working this hard, you know, driving back and forth to Canton doing this, and then I don't even get to do the one thing that I did or said I was going to do. And if I do get to do it, it doesn't sound good because we didn't notice that one of the cables was bad because there was no way to know. So, you know, at some point it's like, screw all that. I ain't doing it. You know, if I'm going to take a shot and I'm going to bet that I do a good enough show, then I got to just do the show, you know. And so we've talked about it a little bit, Shannon and I, and I talked to him a little bit yesterday via text about kind of what I'm thinking, but I got a lot of big plans with this kind of freedom where I'm leaning more into the show and leaning away from anything that takes me away from doing this, you know, and just by eliminating, for whatever reason, the part where we thought that we had to do it live. You know what I mean? The part that's been stuck in since we started doing it live. Because once you do that, now you are a victim to anything that can make that not as good. You know what I mean? Make that not sound as good, look as good. And so screw it. You know, screw it. We're going to do it. I'll record it. It's still live as far as live to tape, you know, which if people care, they don't care. They got... You know, I got 7 or 8 years of everything being live, and it didn't seem to make a difference. So how about this? I'll just do it to where it sounds the best and looks the best and is consistent as far as comes out consistently, and you know when to expect it on YouTube. At 10 a.m., this show, this guy sits in his shed, and he talks about the world, or he talks about his world, you know? And I want you guys to be more involved as this continues. I want there to be comments on YouTube. You guys are welcome to leave comments on Patreon. I see all those as soon as they come up. I get notified as soon as somebody comments on that. And so those are probably the two easiest places to comment. So if you want to leave a review and leave a comment on iTunes or Spotify, that's fine. I may not see them all the time. It depends how I get notified about them. Of course, you can always follow us on any of the social medias, and there's ways to leave messages. If you want to leave like a voice message and have it be played on the show, go for it. I think that's cool, and it's something that I've always wanted to do. How would you know when I'm going to read it, you know? So as this kind of grows where we have a little bit more control over what we're putting out there, I hope that I can then have different segments with you, the listener, and me. And then Shannon and I are going to do projects where it's us together that aren't taco related necessarily, where he's in the shed with me. And we might call it the OK Taco Show. I'm not sure. But we're going to be together doing that stuff. And he's been talking about, and he made a Facebook post alluding to this yesterday. And if you followed along, you saw it, where his music show, we're going to start kind of ramping that up. And I think for the time being, that might have to be on Patreon just because of copyright stuff. You know, that's a bonus thing. That's a one-time thing. And so we'll hide it there behind the paywall. That way we can get away with it, you know. Either that, or we'll do it in a way where it's a recording that we put on our website. Or we'd figure something out. You know, we'll always be able to figure something out. But I think that I know that what we've been doing, all the stuff we've been through, it all kind of had to happen to lead to what could have been done the whole time. You know, if all it was me sitting out in a shed doing a show that doesn't have to be live and doesn't require internet, because I can just walk inside and upload it, and it's in HD and it's all connected in the simplest way. That's just what needed to be done. But you go through thinking, it's got to be more than that. It's got to be more difficult. It's got to be, surely it's hard. It's not. And it just takes, sometimes it just takes that. It just takes time to realize that this is just a stepping stone. What I'm saying right now becomes, this will be mark the moment when I thought that this is the way you do it. And it could be wrong. So but I gotta trust myself at some point, you know. And if it all has to come back on me in whatever endeavor we're doing, I would at least like to answer for something that I had complete control over. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna talk to me anymore, it's like, are you talking about something I said in the shed on the Shed Show? Because that's solely and completely me. Now, when we get to those guys from Wichita, stuff gets wild. Now, a lot of that's my fault. I'll admit a lot of that's my fault, and I push those boundaries on that show and to try to get those guys to laugh, because I know what makes them laugh. And it may not be for everyone, and it might be a different show than what this is. Same thing with me and Shannon. And I think that that's okay. You know, there's a lot of people that have differences in themselves depending on where they're at and what they're doing. You know, Bob Saget was a terrific dad on that show where he molested those two twins. But that was behind the scenes. You know, on the camera, he was a great dad, in San Francisco dad. And, but when he went and did a stand-up, you know, he wanted his dog to lick his balls, okay? And that's Bob Saget for you. That's Bob Saget. And, you know, staunch gun owner, hero, savior, Bob Saget. So, I guess we'll start at the beginning, though, as far as I talked to you a little bit yesterday. I tried to do a show on the way to get my son, which was easily the most dangerous thing I've ever done. There was no reason for me to be driving yesterday. I could not see. My eye is still very red. I don't know what happened to it. What happened is I went and took care of, and I even put a picture on our Patreon, I went and took care of the pond that I have to do monthly. And I got back, I went and did my run that evening. I did not shower. So all of this stuff could be a factor. I did not shower. It's covered in, you know, poison ivy, everything that you hit when you weed eat around a pond for 7 hours. And I'm covered in it, face, arms, stuff like that. Threw on some shorts, went and did my run. 3 miles is all I did. And got back, took a cold shower, which I don't wash as well in a cold shower because it is very uncomfortable. I try to, but let's be honest, I'm not good at it even if it's a warm shower. Okay? Got that done. Went out. My dad and his fiance had cooked bacon for BLTs. I told them I'm hungry. And something was wrong with me there, too. I'm not usually as hungry. I'm not usually as adamant about eating. And I was very hungry. I ate like 3 sandwiches. And I ate a pork chop. And it's like my body was hurting. My body was dying or something. And maybe it was just lack of sleep from the rodeos and the hotness of the rodeos, including the hotness of that week prior, where we were in Drumright, and then we went and had a hell of a day in Cleveland, Oklahoma. Really didn't get much of a day off, you know, because we got in so damn late. And that Wednesday was kind of used to recover, or that Thursday, and then you're back at it. Cooking for the rodeo, that's hot, and then the next day was just another sweat day, and you get done, and it's 1:30 in the morning before you're going to bed. Get up, drive all the way to Kansas. I had the heck of a time. You know, the week before I had to rebuild a motor just to get going, and this week I had to redo my tires and hubs just to get started before I could even start on a late Sunday night. You know, and then I mowed till dark. Went back up to the in-laws that night. Stayed up again 1:30, hanging out with them, talking to them. Hadn't showered until late. Then go do that pond. And then, so maybe my body was just like, dude, what the hell are you doing? And I sat down after eating at my dad's and just did what tired people do. Just rubbed my eyes. Rubbed both of them. And all of a sudden, I'm talking and like my eyes are slowly just, you know, turning into Rocky Dennis, dude. And he's talking to me like, yeah, that's good. And, you know, eventually, what the hell is wrong with your eyes? It's like, I don't know, man. You've watched what I've been doing, you know. And so we squirt some stuff in there, and it eases a bit. Take a little ibuprofen and squirted some Visine in there, but I was not well. And we kind of laid there and watched TV, and I felt all right. and then went to bed. I slept in that day without, usually I get up at 7 at the latest without an alarm. The alarm usually 6 or 6:30, even if I'm hitting snooze. You know what I mean? I got like 10. Felt like I hadn't slept at all. Like I was in pain rolling around all night. That kind of feeling, and which is probably what I was doing. And I couldn't open my eyes, and I squirted a bunch of stuff in them, and I took off, because now I have this other stuff to do. Now I'm late and somehow drove, got my mowers hooked up, drove into Case, did some spraying all day, and then met up with my wife. And I was like, I can't do this. I even let her drive home, which has never happened. I can't do it. I just can't see. Every time I'm trying to, even if I just close one eye, it was making this one close. I had something in both, but this one was real bad. And it's even like blackened. I don't know. So, and shit just happens when you get older, man. Getting old, they tell you lots of things, but they don't tell you that you just, for whatever reason, you'll just start bleeding. You know what I mean? That's happened to me recently. I'll just be walking around and some stranger will be like, hey, are you all right? And yeah, I'm fine. It's like, well, your leg is bleeding pretty bad. And you don't even notice. And that's just getting old. And you don't have any feeling anymore in any parts of your, like extremities, your bodies. Things will tingle. You'll feel a tingle. What the hell? And like you'll be on fire. Okay, put it out. I don't know. Sometimes I think that the military, by limiting their enlistment, is missing out on some real hardened people. Like if you think back in the military, the guys that we respect the most, I think, like the Pattons and all the statue guys that we tore down, but at the time, whether they're on the good side of history or bad, we all kind of looked at them like, God damn, that's a bad dude. That's a badass dude right there. And when you would watch those movies or those retellings of how bad those people are, I think sometimes we would think that they're superhuman, when the fact is they were just old. And when you get old, you don't feel anything. Patton could get shot in the shoulder. It doesn't hurt anymore, dude. It doesn't. And not to say that, I'm not saying that it would have hurt him when he was younger, but I kind of think it would have. I think as he got older, that's just what happens. And so that's what's been happening to me, and I don't have an answer for my eye. And at some point yesterday, I was willing to admit that I was probably crippled. I probably had lost it. I'd lost my vision. And it really set me back because there was a lot that I was going to do within the couple days that I have back down in Oklahoma, because as you guys know, 4th of July means one thing for this waterhead, and that drives to Kansas City. And so I got, changed the oil, and I got all kinds of stuff that I had to do or was wanting to do before I then turn right back around and drive hundreds of miles north again, including do a bunch of these shows and then have them scheduled to where they're consistent next week. Well, there was no shows that could happen yesterday. And so until we really get started or really get going on what I'm talking about with this new show schedule, with this being it, I got to go cut grass anyways on the weekend, okay? I got to do that anyways. But what I've never really done for you guys is give you a consistent... we've done it with those guys from Wichita. You know what I mean? We've done it with that. But that might not be everybody's cup of tea. And that might not sound the best on the live stuff because of internet issues and all kinds of issues. So what my goal is to give you guys a quality show every day for at least 45 minutes to an hour, depending. Sometimes longer if I have the time, But I want this to be the thing. I want it to start here. It starts here. This is it, and then everything else on Conradio, that's up to everybody else and what they want to do. But the times of me, I can't make people's commitment for them, and I I can't make this shed any cooler. You know what I mean? So I know that those guys have never once said that they'll do something and then not done it. But there's a lot of times when those guys say, I can't do that. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. And they're not bad reasons. Just I can't, they're not getting paid anything for that. Well, that's fine. But, you know, if I have a plan, oh, we're going to get together and do all this stuff, and then it doesn't happen, not for anybody's fault, but because I planned it with people and then it just can't happen, or I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is, I'm the one who wants to do this, nobody else. They want to do it sometimes with me, and that's fine. But I have to understand that if I want to do it, I have to sit here and do it, you know, and not be compromised on this vision. You know what I mean? So this isn't, I don't take anybody's. This is this, and then the rest is collaborative efforts. But this gives us a base. So, anyways, that's where we're at. And my eye, although it doesn't look great, is getting better. And I'm sorry there's a quick cut in there because my iPhone ran out of storage. So it had 64 gigs is how much whoever runs iPhone now gave me. 40 of it's being used by systems and data on it, which I don't know what that is. So deleted everything, and sitting in here I'm sweating, which would have been a perfect time to be done. This is another reason why I got to get this thing insulated, get it nice and cool down in here, and then be able to sit in here for at least 45 minutes without, you know, having to pop this shirt off and go full Bert Kreischer for you guys. But anyways, I'm excited for it. I think Shannon's excited for it. We still want to put together our special, and we got booked on a couple interviews already. But in addition to that, I want to have people on. You know, I want to utilize the technology that we have, and you know, have guests on that do other shows that are small guests. I want to reach out because I think that maybe that will help. I think that by offering to help others on whatever they got going on, even if it's a perceived help, you know what I mean? Even if it's just something that makes them feel better, you know, even if it's a local, talk to my wife about reaching out to these towns that we've been serving tacos to. I know there's all kinds of small businesses within these towns, and inviting them to be on the show for a segment. You know, if we're going to do it every day, I can do them at any time. And then those segments can be scheduled within certain shows, you know. There's lots of ways you can do this kind of stuff. And the problem is we've always just added 15 different things that have nothing to do with it and then try to push this into it. And almost be like, why don't you guys pat us on the back? And you guys are like, you guys' show doesn't sound very good. You know, you guys' show doesn't look very good. And it didn't. And it doesn't because we're not doing it in a way where we can control that. So that has to change. And I guess it has. Now, moving forward for today, and this will be today's show, so I guess I should say for tomorrow and next week. Now, next week, I think I'll be able to do a show in Kansas City. I think I'll be able to get some shows done in Kansas City that sound good, and just got to find a nice quiet place that can absorb some sound, because as convenient as some of this equipment I have is, it will pick up any kind of audio, and I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to cancel out sounds that I just shouldn't have been around when recording. So, but I'll work on that. I'll figure that out. I got a couple ideas on how I can set up a couple different things to make it all sound good. So I'm excited for it. You know, it's my favorite holiday of the year. It's 4th of July. And not really for the patriotic part of it, which it's more the family thing. I think it's the same reason I like Thanksgiving so much. But I know my dad's going, and my brothers and sisters are going up there, which they didn't go the past 3 or 4 years, so it should be a pretty good party. And we'll see how it goes. One thing I just want to, like a public service announcement before I get out of here, because I'm sweating so much in the shed, is, guys, if you think it's cute to go to Yellowstone and get near a buffalo, you're wrong. They're gonna gore you. They're gonna, they're gore. They're Gordo. Or what was that? Mortal Kombat. Goro. They're Goros, dude. A buffalo is just, instead of having 4 arms, it's got 4 damn legs and 2 horns, and it is the real Goro. And a buffalo, people think just because it looks as if it is a misshapen sofa, that has legs, they think that this thing looks so dang cute. There's a reason that before pilgrims got here and realized what a terror these monsters are, that the Native Americans were covered in them, in their pelts and in their headdresses, and all this stuff was buffalo related, because these little boogers, they're going to get you, and sometimes I think that other than maybe a grizzly bear, buffalo is probably the most angry. I mean, just, it walks around ready to, like, imagine being a buffalo, okay? You're 18 million pounds. It's hotter than crap in Yellowstone Park, where you've been forced to live now, because you used to live down in the southern climate. You get right in the middle, maybe even hang out like on, when it gets real hot, you kind of migrate up into the Dakotas and stuff. So you're all right. No, we move you over here, West Coast. Screw it, dude. You stay here. It's hotter than crap out there. And what do you get to eat? You have to walk to eat grass. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's bringing you what you really want. Nobody's bringing a buffalo a hamburger. Walk around. For what? To stay alive. Oh yeah? What does that mean? It means you get to eat grass. You'd be mad too. You can't be 3,000 pounds eating little blades of grass all day, and then have these big horns and a neck the size of frickin' Dwayne Johnson's thigh. And it's like some Asian person's going to come over and, put his arm around you. Boom. Dead. Because buffaloes aren't racist. That's one thing. Buffaloes they'll frickin' stab you with their horns regardless of what color you are. That's how little they care. You know what I mean? They're just mad that you're stepping on their dinner, which is grass. And they're mad that that's their dinner. Okay? So, please, guys, if you go to Yellowstone, one, you're not a cowboy. Okay? It's nothing like the TV show. I've talked about this before. Okay? You're not a cowboy. But 2, leave the buffalo alone. Okay? All that's going to happen is you're going to get hurt. And I think a lot of times this is, and this is only from my experience because I've never been there. And there's a lot of places I've never been. And a lot of the reason I've never been to a lot of places is because I've always had stuff to do. People that go to places don't have anything to do. You know what I mean? And they plan for it. Like, hey, what are we doing? I got that week off in June. People will say that to each other. Oh, I do too. Well, I don't got nothing to do. I don't got nothing to do. Let's go to Yellowstone. What? Poor people, people in the middle, like me and like you and like most people, we got shit to do. So you get the week off, it's like, oh, good, I can finally fix the car. I've been driving around on a spare since February. I can finally get the tire put on. I can finally clean out my mom and dad's closet. They died of COVID a year ago, and I just haven't had time to get over there because I've been working. I'd love to go to Yellowstone, though, and take a picture of a buffalo. That'd be fun, huh? What? No, we got stuff to do, man. We got a freaking podcast to record. Hey, do you want to go to Yellowstone? No. No, I don't. Actually, I would like to go there. So... But that's the thing. So when these people that have stuff to do, though, poor people, we know not to dick with a buffalo. It's those that didn't have anything to do. Those that found jobs that give them time to go to Yellowstone. Those that live a life of, well, I get 3 months off in the summer. That's, holiday. And last year we went to Orlando Studios in June, and we went to, where'd we go, sweetheart? Where'd we go? No, I already said that one. Where'd we go? Sorry, oh, that's right. We went to Indiana. He wanted to go to Indiana, so we went to Indiana, And then the third week, we went to Six Flags down in Texas because we were going to visit my aunt and uncle, but they weren't home. When we didn't call, they were working. They were home, but we didn't want to hang out there if they're working. So we actually scooted on down to San Antonio, then went right down into the Corpus Christi, and we hung out on the beach. We just found a little Airbnb. It was so beautiful. And then we came back. And then Dave got hit by the buffalo. That's the video you seen. That was the video. And it's like, people just sit there like, what? What'd you guys do? Well, I've had to put a transmission in the car. So I had 3 days off, and I put transmission in the car, and then went back to work. So I can't go to Yellowstone. And, that's life for most people in this country, dude. So, and that's good, though. And you got to be grateful that you have that life. And I know that's I want to get better at that. It just, sometimes it feels like the world is you're pushing against it. You're doing what people tell you to do. You're pushing back. But, and not even when I say people, I'm talking about exceptional people. Those leaders, those that you look up to, and they tell you to push back. If you got an idea, if you believe in yourself and all this different stuff, you keep going, you keep pushing, you'll get it. And sometimes I think the more you do that, there's just little roadblocks and little things that would be avoided if you didn't try to do so much. And I know that. But shit, you think you get ahead and you think you got an idea and you think it's going to make everything a little bit easier. And then, Jizo puts COVID in your freaking left eye for no reason. That's what happens. Okay? You can be outside grilling and somebody's going to drive by and say, hey, what kind of barbecue sauce is that? And you're like, well, this is head country, and just give you the finger. What? Why are you doing that? Because it's head country. This is head country. And it is, dude. It's waterhead country. And you're just trying to make it. And you will. So, I got a couple good bits here. I think I'll leave with... I don't want to leave with that one. I'll leave with this one. I've been talking about this. I got a family friend, actually Jonah's buddy's parents, have adopted, or whatever you call it, adopted a Ukrainian family and refugees. They've created an asylum for refugees from Ukraine to live within their home amongst their family. That's fine. I've been saying that they're spies since the beginning, but I've been doing that for jokes. It's called levity. Because I don't think that they're spies. But when Jonah called me from camp the other day, and we were talking about his buddy, because we were talking about maybe his buddy can go to camp with him next year and make it a little easier on him to have somebody that he knows. And he said, well, Dad, he already went on vacation this year. They went to the lake. And I said, well, did they take the Ukrainians? He said, I don't think so. I said, well, wonder what they did. And he's like, Dad, I don't know what Ukrainians do for fun. And I said, son, I don't either. That's a damn good question. I don't either. I don't know what a Ukrainian does for fun. You like to think that it's going to be similar to what you like, but it, you know what I mean? It doesn't, it may not be. It could be you know, they could fill up a wrapping paper tube full of rocks and just beat the youngest kid with it. That could be fun for a Ukrainian, and I wouldn't know. You know, we could say that we like to play Xbox. Oh, I play Fortnite for fun, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I build gypsy dolls out of rubber bands and then take them to a medicine woman and have her make it into my ex-wife. That could be a Ukrainian pastime. And a lot of this is just uneducated. I'm just uneducated on the fact that I don't know much about Ukraine and I don't know what they like to do for fun. But I also don't like to assume. I think it's real American to assume that other cultures, even if they are Caucasian or even if they have similar body types that you do, to assume that they enjoy the same pastimes that you do, that's such an American thing to do. You know what I mean? That's an American thing to do. That's not what happens. Ukrainians might want to just get naked and they might cover themselves in mud or something and play like pin the stick on the sloppy men. I don't know. But if they did say that that's what they do, we shouldn't look at them and go, that's weird. Because is it? Is it weird? To us it is. But going to the lake might be weird to them. What? You fill up your boat? How much? You spend $195 to fill up your boat? And then go around in circle on, I don't know how that, and then go around in circle around the lake and get broken arm? Why didn't you just play Mudman Stick Butt? Why did not you play that? Much easy, cheap, free, mud, stick, butt. Mudman Stick Butt. Ukraine fun. And that's true. You know, they got a point. That's the cool thing about countries that have been poor for a long time, poorer than America, for longer than America. We think that we got the market on the poor. Shit. There's kids out there that are right now wrapping rubber bands around some sort of skull that they found, like a rabbit skull or a damn armadillo shell. They're putting a bunch of rubber bands around an armadillo shell because they're going to play, you know, banjo with it. Or they're going to wrap enough rubber bands that they can hit it with like a baseball bat. You know, they've been making fun for a long time in those poor countries. Long before we were even a country. And you got to remember that, dude. And anytime somebody asks you, like my son asks me, what does a Ukrainian do for fun? Make it up. Because you don't know. You never will. Because by the way is something they're not going to tell you. Not all of it. So, anyways, I will be back with another show tomorrow at 10 a.m. So thank you guys for watching this. And please, if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please do. It's on youtube.com. Just look for Conradio, /Conradio, I think is the link. And maybe I'll put all that stuff in the description so people actually know. Patreon's free. Subscribe there if you want to support the show. Thank you. And then, of course, iTunes and Spotify. And if you've never written a review and you want to, please do. That helps. And then also, if you want to be a part of the show, even you guys that have been around a while, it might take your guys' input to get this thing started. You know, so Steve's and Chris's and Bubby Man's, if you guys got any questions or information, send me a message and I'll read it on the show and we'll go from there. If you guys have any comments or constructive criticisms, let me know. And but don't be a dick about it, because I don't respond well to that. I'm doing my best. And probably a lot of times, you know, I've thought of a lot of the things that you might be wanting to say, but it's just something that I can't do. So just try to be constructive within reason, understanding that, why don't you just buy a new house with a new studio? Like, yeah, you know, I can't afford it. So anyways, we're going to afford it. We're going to make this work. This is going to be our thing. This is going to be the little show that could. This is going to be all those things because I've listened to all of them. I've listened to all the big ones. I've watched them. I've done it all. as far as that goes. And I know what we have when we're all together from those guys from Wichita. I know that chemistry is not easily duplicated. I know that Shannon and I have something that's nobody can match. You know what I mean? And that's a bond of lots of stuff, not just the love of the show, but also just the love of each other, because whether that's family or we've both been through so much together. So, that ain't going anywhere. But this has to be where it starts, right here in this shed with Ronnie Millsap behind me and Elvis behind me and paintings that I've done, and my son, whoever this guy is that my son did. I don't know who that is. And then stuff my daughter's made, That's where it's at, man. So it's fun because sometimes, even though this has been 10 years, each time a different little thing starts, it feels like it's new. It feels like get to start over, but only with everything you knew before. So I'm excited for it, and I think that it's going to start, So with that being said, have an okay day, and don't let your meat loaf.